I want my Red Lobster. This has a tendency of going to the sides because of the way it's angled.
What did you say last time? Never play lobster again?
Yeah. The less known James Bond film. Never play lobster again. It's never say never again.
Really?
I don't know. You didn't really respond, so I wasn't sure if you got it or not. I know you've not watched a lot of the James Bonds.
I've seen most of them, just not the new ones, because Daniel Craig is not Bond.
True, but Skyfall's quite good.
But you're asking me to watch a Bond who's a terrible Bond. Well, okay.
He's a better Bond in that. He seems to have learned what Bond is. And I have more confidence in him in an actor following Skyfall. But apparently the one after Skyfall is terrible. Which I haven't actually seen Spectre.
And one of the big problems of James Bond is the character's pretty rapey and gross.
Yeah.
Like, following the source material of the books, he's pretty grim as an individual. But obviously I don't think of Bond as being like that, despite being played by Sean Connery, who's notoriously woman-hating. So, yeah, it's this really awkward thing where in my head I have this solid view of what Bond is, which is kind of more like, oh god, is it Roger Moore?
Yeah, the one who died recently.
No, the one who was also in Penny Dreadful.
Oh, Timothy Dalton.
Timothy
the
Dalton.
one who's the villain in Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Timothy Dalton to me is sort of like a very good Bond. It really is.
I just want to prove that. Say that while we're here.
Hey! But yeah, Timothy Dalton plays a really nice...
Oh, Orange Attack.
Like Bond to be.
Cut that!
Why?
You didn't even hear what I said, but cut it.
What did
you say? Nothing. If I'm gonna have to cut it, I'm not gonna repeat it to you, am I?
I'm pulling sad face. So yeah, Timothy Dalton, I think he plays a very good Bond. But for me, obviously, the best Bond will always be Pierce Brosnan for the cheesy one-liners and the silliness and the fun.
See, that's the thing. Skyfall got slightly more silly, partly just because the other Daniel Craig ones were super serious. And they kind of got a bit more relaxed, and he's a bit more quippy as Bond, whereas he was just more of kind of classic action character in the other ones.
You've seen Ava Green as the Bond girl, haven't you?
Yeah, have you? I thought you said you hadn't seen that one.
I haven't, no. I just know she is because a lot of my friends know Ava Green as being
Vespa.
a Bond chick.
Yeah.
Did you like her as a Bond lady?
I would like Ava Green in anything, as anything.
Yeah, fair.
I don't care what she's acting or if she's even acting at all. I could just watch her stand there for an hour and a half. I would pay to see that film.
See, now, I'm pretty straight, but even I must admit Ava Green, foire.
I'm not convinced you're pretty straight.
Depends how you define it, really. But,
The spaghetti.
The spaghetti?
Straight until it gets wet. Sorry, that's terrible.
But kind of accurate from what I've heard. No, straight depending on the person. But, I don't think I could just watch Ava Green standing. I think I could listen to her talk, definitely.
Oh, it's the voice that ruins it for me. She's got a really weird accent.
I like it. She's French, you know?
I know. It's part of the problem.
Don't be so British. I still love the fact that court language in England was French for like forever.
Well, yeah, we were famously ruled by the French.
I know. And people just hate to admit it.
I mean, it's easier to pick over the people who didn't rule us at some point. I think it's the Dutch, and that's about it.
I don't know, I don't think the Chinese or the Japanese got over here.
Which is why our language shits on the Dutch so hard. We have an unusual amount of phrases that are unpleasant towards the Dutch. Double Dutch, Dutch oven.
That doesn't count, that's a very modern one.
Okay,
Dutch courage.
Dutch courage. Friend of mine who's Dutch basically gave a list of about 7 or 8 examples, all of which were, like, unpleasant phrases involving Dutch.
I mean, well, yeah, okay. That's pretty damning. I'll accept that. I like the spider web.
It's largely because they were one of the only European powers that never ruled us at any point. So they were safe to take the piss out of because they weren't involved in the aristocracy at all.
Wasn't Prince someone who married Victoria?
Prince Albert, who's German. Albert of Saxe-Coburg.
Cool, fair. Although, do you know he's the main reason that we ended up...
What?
Now, this is kind of ironic, considering how non-socialist we are, but how socialist we ended up, he was a big part of that.
Yeah. He's also responsible for modern Christmas. It was him who brought, amongst other things, the tradition of the Christmas tree back from pagan roots.
Also...
Him and old Vicky love to have a Christmas tree, and everyone's like, oh, let's join in with that.
Yeah, but it was, what's-his-face? Christmas Carol guy.
That too.
But
Dickens.
it was considered really archaic and silly, and then Dickens made it very fashionable again with his book.
Anyway, what were you going to say? Socialist?
Yeah, he was all about you had to build social housing, so we were starting the Industrial Revolution.
I mean, that was a
whole
big
thing.
kind of Victorian thing. Victorian...
But that was him. He said, no, you can't, like, have these workers if you don't, like, give them housing, give them stability, because otherwise they won't be able to work. And she was like, oh, that's quite clever, actually. And so we started doing the whole social housing, looking after people thing, and started the whole, do you know what, if you want workers to work, there's no point working them for 10 years till they're dead. You're much better off keeping them alive enough to keep going.
A happy worker is a productive.
Yes.
Now, that sounds weirdly authoritarian.
Oh, have you been playing American McGee's Alice without me?
No.
A happy worker is a live worker. Sorry.
Yeah, like that's a similar kind of vein to a lot of the kind of big American philanthropists. So Andrew Carnegie, even Rockefeller and ones like that to a certain degree, who believed that a lot in giving away wealth once earned. Carnegie was the classic of he believed in there's a name for it philosophically, but essentially it's any wealth accumulated over your lifetime should be redistributed by the time you're dead. So he set up a load of estates and trusts to kind of like give out money in his name, stuff like that. He died in like 1840. They're still going today.
That's pretty cool. But are people donating to it as well?
I think so, yeah. A lot, like for example, you get a lot in Scotland, Carnegie things, and they're slightly racist about it.
Oh,
basically, he was Scottish and did all his work in America, basically selling like factory parts. But basically, like most Scottish people at the time, and also generally now, not too big on the English. So his rules, at least for the Scottish portion of it, are it can be used to better Scottish people anywhere in the world, or people from anywhere in the world if they're in Scotland, except for the English or the Welsh.
So kind of like their university system as well. Oh,
Basically, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna struggle.
Ah,
Well done.
nailed it.
So basically like their university system.
Yeah.
Yet to be fair, Glasgow does have a really strong like distributing the wealth thing. Have I told you about the Buchanan sisters?
You have, but tell the audience.
Okay, so absolutely Google this, check this out, it's so cool.
Oh, I should have mentioned as well, we're actually onto a new set of challenges now where these ones have 45 orange pegs instead of the normal 25.
Very exciting. That sounded really sarcastic. This is exciting. It is enjoyable to watch. Buchanan sisters. So they were three women who inherited a fortune. They had no male heirs. And instead of marrying so that their husbands could accumulate their wealth, sell it off, etc., etc., they decided, nah, do you know what? We're going to party, we're going to live, and when we, we're going to donate to charity, and when we die, we're going to leave it to the state. And these girls, they held lavish parties. I mean, lavish by the current stance, like still socially acceptable, but definitely not suitable for young and married ladies. But they absolutely were like, we're not getting married. We're not having anything to do with it. There's no accounts as to whether or not they had gentlemen friends. But
I was going to ask.
Or lady friends.
I was going to ask if they were gay because, so my brother works for the National Trust, and a lot of time they get things bequeathed to them, and you have to look through the archives to see where stuff originally came from. And sometimes it's there was a kind of they get references to kind of there were rich ladies who never married, and then when they died, gave all their stuff to their close personal female friends. And the implications, even from the historical documents, are very clear. It's quite amusing. But continue.
I do accept that is very likely to be obviously a lesbian
possible.
thing,
Oh,
and more power to them. And I do also think
well here.
you are. I do also think there's a lot to be said for
I'm going to clear some blues.
close personal friends who are just friends.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't want to be getting rid of your asexual people or people who just chose not to marry, e.g. Tesla.
Well, Tesla believed that women distracted him from science.
Which?
He was one of a large movement of people who also believed that basically semen and stuff like that were the creative fluids. Therefore, draining them with acts like sex or masturbation drained your creativity. So we're celibate.
Yeah.
Chopin the musician was another key believer in that school, and it wasn't quite that uncommon at the time.
Exactly, and there was the whole fear of sex because of getting sexually transmitted disease from filthy women. which was a really common worry as well.
Still a common worry today.
We have antibiotics. Well, maybe not anymore.
I'd like to think we just have less filthy women as well, possibly. But
And people in general.
True, actually.
It was really common to get like a sexually transmitted disease from your lovely husband and pass it on to the children because, you know, you were breastfeeding them or what
I
have
thought you
you.
meant because of like really dodgy.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't like to get too far into it.
Jesus.
Breastfeeding is the official reason why it's passed on.
Well, I mean, I guess some STDs can just be passed on just through pregnancy, surely.
Absolutely. Which is another one that's apparently still common to get people who get AIDS and passing it on to the babies through that kind of stuff, and then everyone's screwed. Although current AIDS, that was my finger. Current AIDS protection for the fetus if you're pregnant is really cool. So
Do you mean AIDS or do you mean HIV?
HIV. Sure.
HIV is the virus. AIDS is the selection of symptoms associated with it. So you presumably mean HIV.
I mean HIV. My apologies. I'm sorry, I got it wrong.
HIV, obviously the V stands for virus, whereas with AIDS the S stands for syndrome.
I'll try and remember that.
It's on auto something immunodeficient. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome is AIDS, whereas HIV is human immunodeficiency virus. So, yeah, it's the HIV is the actual pathogen. AIDS is the not even the disease, but the presentation of the disease, clinically speaking. Continue.
But yeah, it's still reasonably common to get it and then pass it on to the kids through breastfeeding or through pregnancy. But yeah, we've got some really good fetal protective things, drugs, if you're pregnant and have HIV.
Damn. Not damn to pregnant HIV into the ball.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
that was quite cool.
It was, actually, you're right.
But yeah, the Buchanan sisters, and yeah, they partied, they had fun, they donated to loads of really good charities, they looked after the people of Glasgow, and then the very last sister left all her wealth to the city, what was left, and she continued to live and be happy and prosperous. And it's just like, fair play to you girls, you know? They might have had male or female companions.
So are they the ones that Buchanan Galleries are named after?
I presume so, yes, because it's the Buchanan estate.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a charity, you can get loads of really good stuff with it. And they have a really cool mausoleum in...
Oh yeah, I've been to their grave.
Yes.
That sounds really weird, but...
No, I took you there because the necropolis in Glasgow is awesome. City of the Dead.
Why do we always talk about that in recordings? Not just you and me, we always talk about necropolis. What the fuck? Necropoli, I suppose it would possibly
I think
be.
it would be necropoli.
It's not something you ever talk about multiple of in the same breath particularly often.
No, but Glasgow does have more than one necropolis.
Does it?
Yeah, there's one in the south side as well. A kid fell and was found a few days later. Unfortunately, no longer alive.
What's the relevance of that?
In the south,
Okay. Oh.
Glasgow South necropolis. It'd been reported to the council as being a problematic, dangerous fall, and this kid was just taking a shortcut on the way home from a friend's house.
Had a
Never made it
problematic,
home.
dangerous fall.
Yeah.
Wow. Cheery.
Oh, that's me.
Oh yeah. Oh, nice.
Always in for my super happy.
Come on. Oh no. Yes. No. Yes. Oh. Hey.
Oh, well done.
And spoink. 110.
Oh, robbed.
It's a hard one, this. There's a lot going on.
There is. Especially when you're not paying attention to when the
I'm
balls are
paying
coming out.
attention.
Sure.
Hey.
See.
I was paying attention to that. That's what I meant to do. And now we're over here doing shit and kicking ass and fighting crime.
Uh-huh.
Don't
Speaking
doubt-
of fighting crime, have you seen the new Wonder Woman?
Yes.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I would argue it's... Fuck it, I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna say it's DC's best film, full stop. I've committed. I'm saying it.
Including the one with Heath Ledger's Joker?
Yes, including The Dark Knight.
Wow.
It's hard to disagree that it's the best, certainly the best DC since then of the kind of modern age of superhero films. But I would actually say it's the best one. Since, like, Batman Begins. I don't know about any of their older stuff so
You've
much.
seen two of them.
I have. I think I've also seen Batman and Robin.
Oof.
which is not great, I'll be honest.
Again, I got my nieces and nephews to watch it. It's their favourite. It's a whole thing, but whatever.
Do they think it's shit?
No, they love it.
Well, I mean, they
It's
can
so
no, that's in fairness, they can love it and still think it's shit.
No, because you know they were quite young at the time, and it's all bright and weird colours and cool gangs. I can see where they're coming
Cool
from.
gangs.
Yeah, it's got some cool gang stuff going on.
I mean, is that something kids like? Gangs?
I mean, yeah, when they don't really know the horrifying consequences.
Fair.
But
Ooh.
I do think that Dark Knight suffers from success of Heath Ledger dying just before and it
Yeah, I
becoming...
think he kind of made it immortal in that way.
He did, and it was... it really upset me. I was actually really selfish when I first found out, because I was like, that selfish bastard. He has ruined Joker. He cannot go on and be this, like, reoccurring awesome villain. I'm heartbroken. It was a whole thing. And then I was like...
Do you think he is particularly good as the Joker, or again, that's a consequence of his...
I think he plays a very good Joker. I was really skeptical when I first heard he was being cast. I've only ever known him as a pretty boy.
Yeah.
And
Electricity.
it's been doing that to me all day. And
Well, this is one of the last recordings in this flat, so hopefully my new flat will have
Better
workable electricity. God.
actually functioning.
I mean, it functions. I don't think it functions too well and goes straight to the ears.
So yeah, I think he plays a very, very good Joker. I was really skeptical when I first heard about him being cast, and then I saw enough to realise he must be playing it well, and then I saw him and I was like, that was amazing, and now he's dead. I'm not 100% convinced.
Is he as good, though, as Jared Leto was?
Haven't seen it.
I've got my hand over my mouth. That will make sense when you've seen it.
Don't worry, I get the concept. I've seen enough mockeries of it. It's just, it's not my kind of thing. I don't like watching abusive relationships, especially not ones that are glorified.
Just suck it. There we go. What? That was it?
Yep. So, Wonder Woman. The whole film appealed to me. She was interesting. She's the kind of hero that I like, which is doing it just because they think it's right, not because they have to avenge so-and-so, or they have these powers and these responsibilities, but they're not allowed to have feelings. She was just like, it's my job to do the thing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to fight it wherever it needs to be, because at the end of the day, it's wrong, it's immoral, and I'm going to do what I can to stop it. And I really like it. I like the arc it took. I like the humor involved. I really like the fact that the other female in it was in no way harsh or nasty or belittling to your
Oh, the one from The Office.
Yeah, she absolutely she makes some offhand comment about glasses, as if she's not always been the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and it's just like, it's this really nice thing. It's like she's helping her pick her clothes. She's really friendly about it, and just like, yeah, we're still here. We're still working on it. She's having none of it, and she's supportive and nice, and it's nice to see that. I hate seeing roles where it's all about women tearing one another down, or women who are just there to satisfy.
I can see that.
X.
Yeah. See, I don't know why guys would have a problem with it, because it's like, normally you watch superhero films as a bloke because you like, amongst other things, watching people beat the shit out of criminals and stuff like that. This was getting to watch someone beat the shit out of baddies, except she's also quite attractive. So it's like, it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah.
So I would happily watch a Batman film if Batman was played by a very attractive woman.
Ava Green is Batman.
Ooh.
Make it happen. Jesus, that'd be so cool. Yeah, I see that. I don't know any men who had a problem with it based on that. I think the only issue is
I think I know men who've had problems with the concept. I've not actually spoken to a male who's seen it and had an issue with it.
I think it's quite interesting just because there were lots of jokes in it that were clearly aimed at anyone who's dated a teenage boy.
I wouldn't know. I never did date a teenage boy.
There's still time. And
True, but it gets dodgier and dodgier every year I get older.
I'm not saying anything. So, well caught.
Can you move out of the way? You don't move, do you?
You do when you bop it, but there's no point bopping it with that. Oh, you're gonna catch it again. Nice.
You can bop right off. Such a big brass.
And yeah, it's got a bit of humour that I can see being alienating, perhaps. but I don't feel like it was.
I never felt it was
nasty
alienating.
way.
I felt there were a couple of bits where I was like, I'm clearly missing this joke, but it was never alienating. It was more just,
I was in a mixed screening, obviously. Unfortunately, I'm not part of it. Is it Hamilton that had the women-only screening?
Hamilton.
Someplace in America?
It was in Austin. It was the Alamo Drafthouse.
Okay, in Austin. I thought that was ridiculous as a concept. I'm like, I don't need to see that as a women-only thing. I can understand why some people would, and I think it was a fair business model to have it. In the cinema, I did kind of wish I was there.
That's the
with
same
just
cinema
women.
that also throws people out for talking.
Fair, I like it. But I think I would have
That's why I know
absolutely loved to see it in a women-only screening, because there are a few things that I really wanted to burst out loud at, but I felt would have been
Doi!
cruel.
that word again?
Cruel.
Put 2 syllables in it.
Cruel.
Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, but
If she doesn't get you, no evil thing will. Continue. Oh,
take a sudden chill. Look, that was an
Come to
amazing
realize
shot.
You've seen those sort of eyes watching you from underneath a rock. This can be fucking hard.
Yeah, I'd have bounced around there. Well done.
I am stupidly lucky with this game, but I have also got better. Nailed it.
Well done.
I have
I admit that was skillful.
Yeah,
And it's difficult for me to say that.
it is.